Hello everyone, this is Renault, and we're going to go ahead and get started on my review today. It's going to be of a comic, but not a video game. But first we do our usual hellos, and this is Joker. And despite the popularity of the recent Joker movie that came out, I've actually had this poster for over a year. So this is more of a hail to the Dark Knight. Obviously. So anyway, hello Joker. I look at that every day. Hello plastic plants. Hello almonds. And hello ibuprofen. Sometimes you are a lifesaver. And also, let's get to the book, Midnight Mystery, from Alterna Comics. I've got some bookmarks here. That's just so that I know which which pages in the comic I need to go to. And I just wanted to have some nice thank you pages from Alterna. Now there is get started with the cover, actually. I'm going to get started with the cover of this comic book. And I do want you to know ahead of time that these ominous hands reaching out for our main character, that's not actually something that happens in the book, but it is eye-catching. And then there's this blood, what appears to be blood here. Again, that's not actually particularly relevant, but it is eye-catching. Anyway, Midnight Mystery, I'm just going to go ahead and flip to, is a book by Mr. Bernie Gonzalez and Wes Loker, Wes Loker did the letters, and Bernie Gonzalez did all the art and story. So we're going to go ahead and get started here, and I don't think I can summarize it more succinctly than this little summary up here, so I'm going to go ahead and read that in full. Follow the strange adventures of Detective Ezekiel Zeke King as he goes from case to horrifying case. In this issue, King's latest goes from freaky to fatal when he's hired to find the lost son of a deceased horror host. Alterna Comics presents Midnight Mystery. So this is kind of a little bit of a noir book, and so you'll get those vibes right away. The art starts off with a narration, but it's not bad narration. You know, sometimes there's good. Sometimes people start their stories with the dynamics. Sometimes people start their stories more with just a hand-holding. This is going with a hand-holding approach, and so that's kind of risky because it doesn't necessarily draw you in right away. But this one does, so I'm going to go ahead and just go over. It's about this guy. He's narrating. He's taught. So whenever you see it like this, it's going over the recording, and when it's like this, it's obviously him talking. So this is about him talking about all the mysteries he sees and his life experiences. And this is, by the way, is Zeke King, our protagonist. So one of the problems you might have with a story like this, with a start where it's the narrator who's the main character, is, well, you know he doesn't die in the end. Now, it can still be lead to an interesting story, but that's one of the risks you take when it starts off with this kind of narration. It's an autobiography. It's not, well, let me tell you the tale of Zeke King. It's like, oh, we're going to learn about what happens to Zeke King. But when it's Zeke King himself telling you what happens, you know he doesn't die in the end. So, anyway, with this intro, it talks about how he's going to a mansion to find a wealthy radio host's long-lost son so that he can be found and brought to the mansion. So I'm going to go ahead and skip a few pages here. Before I do, though, not quite sure who pioneered this type of art where it's kind of blocky with these eyes. But it's the most recent animation I saw that used this style was the Secret Saturdays cartoon show. Now, it wasn't necessarily a noir type of story, but it did use this kind of art, except it was animated. So I've seen this art before. It's kind of fun, the art style. So anyway, going to skip a few pages here. and we are introduced to the father figure, so to speak. So the father figure was a host of, those very late night Saturday horror shows. And let's get this bookmark from Blake Northcott out of the way. So he was in the style of like Elvira or the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt. So I want to read this line. This is him. This is the father figure, but he's in his persona, who is Count Karloff. So I'm just going to read this because it kind of exemplifies the cheesiness of those Saturday night shows. Good evening, ladies, gents, creeps, and critters. I ask you, can anyone escape the ghoulish hand? As the ghoulish grip of the horrific hand? Scream Queen Mindy Masters stars in The Creeping Hand. On the next eerie episode of Midnight Theater. Hosted by yours truly, Count Karloff. Won't you join me? I promise it'll be a night to dismember. So again, just super cheesy, corny, but if you enjoy that sort of thing, it's definitely on the mark. Now, these type of shows do have a tendency to become very, very popular, so that talks about how he did indeed become very popular. Very much like Elvira or the Crypt Keeper, they gained that local popularity. He was very charismatic when, as a local actor. He always had female companionship. And eventually he died, but he had a son, which is whom we will be finding. Let me skip a few more pages to my Bigfoot Bill bookmark. Just a second. Okay, let's move that. And so one thing I did want to point out is that Wes Loker did the letters for this. And so the investigator, Zeke King, he's going off to interview people and find out some leads. And so this is him walking. This is him going to the library to find some clues. And of course, this is him researching. But I think, even though this helps the story flow more quickly, I think this could have utilized some explaining what's going on. So I head off to find some clues at the local library. Just something as simple as that, because it's not announced that this is what's happening. So it helps things flow more quickly to the next part. And that's one little criticism I would have about this. So skipping a few more pages. So eventually, Count Karloff character is found. And so this is the son. He is the son of a redhead. Let's get this out of the way. More bookmarks and campaigns, please, because I'd like to skip more easily. So anyway, he finds his son. Then this is the butler who introduced everyone to the case. Jaspers. It's butler names often start with J, the most famous being Jeeves. But anyway, it's important to remember that Mr. Blackwood, who was the actor playing Count Karloff, was never actually described as dead. Only that the son needed to be found. So the son, he's like, yeah, what's going on? Yeah, I'm here. What's your angle, Jasper? So then this is when Jasper says, oh, Mr. Blackwood is not dead or buried. He's right here. And so this is another thing about the flow that I wanted to talk about. So he's right here. He's not dead. He's not buried. They're shocked that he's still here. And so Zeke King says, hey, we got to get out of here. And so Jasper, as this is happening, puts on his mask and then tosses the gas and it spews out. But, This indicates that they had some time to just start running. And so what I would have preferred is if the gas canister was ejected from one of these eye holes, and then they're shocked, and the gas starts spewing out. He's putting on his gas mask, and then it's them falling. It would have been perfectly cheesy, and it would have been handled that minor issue where, hey, why aren't you running? Why aren't you getting out of here? You know this is freaky deaky. You say that you should get out of here, but you don't get out of here. You see this guy putting on his gas mask, and you don't get out of there. You see him toss the canister, and you're not getting out of there. So, if the gas canister were popping out of the eye here, that would have mitigated that issue. And so, on the final page, they can't leave now because they're, the gas. But it turns out Jasper is in on some sort of evil plot. So overall, it did do a good job setting up the story. I didn't really have a problem with the pace. My only issues were those two panels that I mentioned earlier, where, it went a little bit too fast, and then, logically speaking, I would have just preferred to have this gas canister exploding out of the eye so that it was more of a surprise. And whatever. So anyway, that's the first review for 30 Days of Alternative Reviews. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, and I hope you all have enjoyed a good day. Bye-bye.